Coming to you from the historic Hart Building in Marysville, California, in Studio 93, In the Tank with Fish, with your host, Bob Fischetti.
All right, we're back with another episode of In the Tank with Fish and Minnow, and so we are so excited. We have cups, and we love these cups.
They're the best.
Probably be talking about them every episode, and we're gonna make a way that you can own your very own cup.
Yep, it's true.
But the best way will be to come on.
Yeah,
right?
You want a cup, you got to
earn it. You earn the cup, right? You know, and so we've got a guest coming up. I'm excited about. I've known this gal. I can't even tell you how I met her, how long I've known her. But she's just a super great gal, and so anyway, we're gonna bring her on in a few minutes. But just before we do, every time I'm around you, I find out you're like a flower, right?
There's just another layer. Thank you for not comparing me to an onion.
I did not want to use onion.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
No,
There's
you're like
petals.
Unfolding, right? Yeah, Yeah. And it's like this gal. Every time I talk, it's like there's something else about Kelly, right? And so, I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm on a learning curve with that,
Luckily, it's not too steep of a learning curve. I'm pretty forgiving.
That's pretty confident. But I have to tell you, I have pinned you with this girl would try anything.
Yep.
However, there's some things you're just not interested in trying.
That's true.
They're just that, not something
It's
I
not
think
that I'm scared of it, or that it's more that the older I get, the more aware I am of things I commit to for my time. So if it's something, it has to really be something I want to do, because anything that I commit to outside of the home is time away from my boys. And people say like your kids are your world. My boys are my two most favorite humans on the planet. They really are.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
I can see how fleeting their time is at home. At 12 and 14, I think, all right, I've got like 6 and 4 years left if they don't move into, the treehouse and the backyard.
Yeah, they'll be done.
Yeah.
Well, people, especially young kids, always say, I want to be an influencer. Get married, have kids.
Yeah.
You're an influencer.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
you are now an influencer, whether you want to be or not.
Yes. So my thought is, if I said, hey, Kelly, let's go jump out of an airplane.
I would.
Let's go skydive. You'd be like, yeah, right?
I would.
But then again, if I said, hey.
I can already see what's coming.
Well, it's like things that you're just not, it's a time consuming thing. Man, we can go down, take the class, you jump that day.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's something long term, I could see where it's like, oh, wait. Like, so you want me to run for city council.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, that would take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And right now, later you may decide to do that, but
maybe someday, I might have a lot more free time, and who knows what I'll do then. But for now, any of my free time is spent.
Well, after you franchise your bread company,
after I get a new bread oven and I can triple my production, I might actually get sleep, and then I might conquer the world. Who knows?
Well, I told you last time, right? We're in the Hart Building. It's like, put your company on the first floor.
I've thought about this since you told me.
Man, the aroma coming up through the stairwell. Oh.
Yeah. Although I know we are super blessed in that it has taken off. And like every market now, we started Saturday markets a few weeks ago, and every market we've had a line and we've sold out within 30 minutes. And this is... People are like, that's so great. I'm like, it is, until you realize that I spent 18 hours baking for it to all be gone in 30 minutes. And then it looks like, like I did nothing leading up to it. But
I just want to know.
Yeah.
I have an in.
Yes, obviously. Fish is at the back of the line. Save me a bite.
Don't sell all the scones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, yeah. A couple a couple weeks ago, the dog ate the scones that I baked for our family. And I don't know who was more upset, the boys, because it's pretty rare that I like bake for us. I bake bread for us because we don't buy from the store. But they were so bummed. I made strawberry shortcake scones and they're so good. And she went out, like climbed up and got them. And it was unreal. Like, how on earth did you eat all those scones? Then she had a tummy ache. She's like, I don't feel bad for you, dog. You ate all the scones that we were going to have. The boys are pretty bummed.
Our dog jumped on the table once and ate a stick of butter.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how could you?
Oh, yeah. She's also consumed a whole box of pizza by herself. So, yeah, she has issues, clearly. And she's a golden, and they're supposed to be like such good, sweet family dogs. She is, but anything with butter or cheese is fair game to her. So, yeah.
She is losing her mind when you're baking.
She really is, yeah.
It's almost, I'm calling the SPCA on you for being cruel to your golden.
Well, she hadn't had a taste until she got into those scones, and now she's probably on the hunt.
I studied Pavlov's dog when I was in psychology. Your dog is like salivating.
Yeah.
But of course, so are the boys.
Yeah,
so it's like,
I know. They were all mad at her the rest of the day.
All right, we're going to have to, we could probably do a whole show just talking.
What an idea.
But we're going to be right back. We've got Stephanie McKenzie coming in. Now, that's a name both of us can say.
I can say that one, Stephanie McKenzie.
Yes. We're going to be right back with our friend Stephanie McKenzie. Stay with us. I'm telling you, you never know what's going to happen here.
Hi, my name is Denise Landis, and I am the owner of Edible Memories Bakery here on 3rd Street in downtown Marysville. We facilitated the market every Thursday on 3rd. We have food trucks, vendors, and live music every Thursday from 3 to 7:30 here on the corner of 3rd and D Street in downtown historic Marysville. Our vision was to bring an atmosphere of community, and that takes you coming out and joining in the fun with us. We hope to see you here.
We are coming back with Stephanie McKenzie on In the Tank with Fish.
Wow. And what'd you say? What was her name?
Stephanie McKenzie. We're going to have to start, like, when we decide who we're going to have on, like, I don't know, can we pronounce your last name? And if not, then you get, like, either a different last name for the day or we just announce your last initial. But you're a good one, Stephanie.
Mine works.
Yeah,
well, you know, they do that thing where people put their name on Facebook and they'll have the phonetic spelling.
Oh, yes. I
We
need
need
that.
people to come in and do that. How do you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wear it on your shirt when you come in.
The phonetic spelling.
Yeah, totally.
Well, yours is easy, Trudell.
Trudell. Although I get
What was your maiden name?
McGrath.
No, it wasn't.
McGrath. McGrath. Yep.
We got a couple of Mick something here, right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't your maiden name.
It is my maiden name.
Mackenzie is?
But I had a couple names in between.
No!
But it is my maiden name.
That's not part of the talk today,
I
Steph.
mean, it could be if you wanted to, but it doesn't have to be.
A little more information.
Sometimes you just stay away from areas. I think we need to talk about that. So I was telling Kelly, I can't remember how I met you. It happens because sometimes if you know people a long time, you know.
Or they
couldn't
feel
remember
like
how I
family.
met Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we've been in the community for so long together,
Yeah.
too. So sometimes it's hard to piece it together. But I think that we met at Glad Tidings.
Ah,
I'm not sure, but I think that's where we met. When you guys came over for that little bit and you were doing worship. I don't know if I had met you before that.
I don't know, but
That's
I remember talking with you, but the I think the defining moment was when I was at that Women's Friend event.
Yeah.
And I just really felt to ask you, can you do the morning prayer? And for years, you did every day.
I know.
What a trooper, man. Every day. We call her
Wow.
at 6 in the morning, right? She's like, I'm awake, right?
I'm awake. I'm ready.
Yeah, and so we did that, and then I began to know you for the community. So I do think that's it. You meet people. So when you say, oh, we just see each other at events, right? I think that is what's happening to our community. It's moving from the individual places that we know people to the community places where
Absolutely.
we know them.
Yeah.
She's your, you know how you say you got drug dealers? Well, she's not a drug dealer. She's a bread dealer.
Bread dealer.
She's your local community bread dealer.
It's true.
had some
I
of
will
that bread.
gladly wear that
Good
title.
stuff.
She'll give you the first loaf is free.
Not even. I don't have enough.
Yeah, I can't give away a free
No
loaf.
more
It's like
freebies. You got to make them small.
Yeah,
Baby small.
baby loaves.
The taste test.
the taster loaf, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're stuck.
That's how you get hooked.
Yeah. Yeah. We were out there by Ellis Lake at the 93Q booth, and it
Yep.
was the fishing derby, I think. It was a fishing derby. Yeah. And we started talking, and we came up with the grand plan.
I know.
was
That was a
amazing.
funny time because we couldn't pick up the radio station on the speaker, which is what we normally do. So I had to stick a memory stick in it, and unfortunately, I didn't screen the music. And it was some vulgar rap song, and we're at a woman's friend, and
my
I was
goodness.
like, "This is embarrassing." I grabbed it and pulled it out, and I'm like, "Yeah, my son did that."
Blame it on
I don't
him.
know where this came from. It's like some kid stuck that in there, right?
Never seen this before, but
It's like so. Anyway, we got it all squared away. But it was right after that I had talked to you. And it was like, I was just really grateful because I knew how important that was. And I wanted somebody that I knew could come across like they actually cared. It wasn't just your blanket. Sometimes, I don't know how else to put it, but sometimes I think we do things religiously, right?
I agree.
And you just sort of get into like the mold. I'm just going to say it that way. And you weren't like that. You were not like that. And I went, but that's how it happened. And now ever since then, all kinds of things happened. You ran for city council,
Yeah.
which you did. You ran for mayor. This one cracks me up. She ran for mayor twice and missed it by how many votes?
I ran for mayor in 2020 and missed it by 4 votes. So we did the recount and everything. So that was quite intense.
Wow.
And then in 22, I ran for city council again.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't mayor twice. The mayor seat is coming up this year again.
is it in your sights?
I don't know.
I would be like,
Because there's 1, 2, 3.
I'll pay 4 people.
You can't say that. We could vote.
We'll pay for 4 people.
No, you can't.
Uh-oh.
You can't do that.
Not what I was
can't
saying. I was saying if we vote in this room, but there's 4.
Well, we got 3 right here. We just need 1 more, right?
Yeah.
Right
if-
when we
if
get on the
you-
air, they're going to yank us.
If
Fish
you
is
vote
dead.
for Stephanie McKenzie, there's a loaf of bread in it for you.
There you go.
Stop it.
Like people say, a chicken in every pot, right?
Yeah.
A loaf of bread in your
A
mailbox.
loaf of bread in every pantry. Yeah.
Pantry.
Yeah. I know where to get it.
But
Yeah.
what an experience, because you're an educator by trade, if you will.
Yeah.
And what provoked you that you said, I'm going to run for public office?
Man, yeah. I never would have dreamt of that on my own. Honestly, I never, in my wildest imagination, ever thought of doing that. But the closest I ever got to thinking in that way was like just in the past, I've always kind of said, I wish I could get my hands on the California budget, right?
No.
And like weed out all this bad extra spending, all that stuff, and just really focus. And that was the closest my mind ever ventured on its own in that direction. But in 2013, I've lived here for like 42 years, in this area, but never lived in Marysville proper. But,
42 years. So you
42
moved here when you
years.
were 3?
Yeah.
Yes. Where did you move from? I mean to
right.
digress a little bit.
Auburn.
Auburn.
Auburn,
Okay.
California. Yeah.
Smooth.
You just spared me.
I did. I'm trying to save you.
Right.
I'm trying to save you. Auburn.
Auburn, and then then I went to Chico.
Okay.
Met my husband, got married. We got stationed out of Beale Air Force Base. So that's how I got here.
Beale brought you here.
Beale Air Force
Got
Base.
it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Beale, for
Yeah.
yet another good one.
Another Beale transplant. So I just stayed. So I've been here. I think we got to Beale in '82. So that's the time. And then so anyway, I had moved into Marysville and really just started praying for the city. I was like for 3 years. In 2013, I lived on D Street at the Forbes House. Actually, a friend of mine owned it. And so I lived there, and it was just beautiful, wonderful place to live. And I fell in love with it, wanted to buy it, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just felt like God had given me a word for the city, actually. And from Isaiah 58, that if we do the things that God cares about, basically, like taking care of homeless people, feeding the hungry people, giving clothes to people, all that kind of stuff, then we'd see the changes in our city that we want to see. And then those from among us would rebuild the foundations, and we'd be called the repairers of the breach. But basically creating a habitable city again. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. And I felt like I was supposed to pray for the city. So I had been walking on the levees, praying for the city, praying for businesses, praying for the city council. Actually, for a long time, I prayed for the city council leaders. And I hadn't ever met them, but I was praying for them that they would have a heart of mercy toward the things that God cared about in whatever their capacity they were able, but they would just have God's heart for the city. And so prayed for them for a long time. And then I think it must have been in 2016, got a phone call from somebody had never met, didn't know them at all. And they said, hey, would you be interested in running for city council? And I thought, so actually that was the second person to bring it up. Ken Freeman, who I had taken a business class from. I had taken classes, got to know him a little bit, and one day I was visiting him. He goes, you should run for city council. And I laughed because I thought, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to get in the middle of all that stuff? And so then when this other person suggested it, I thought, oh, maybe something's happening here. Maybe I ought to think about this. Maybe I should pray about it. And so I did. And I thought, well, I've been praying for these people to have that heart, and maybe God wants me there. I mean, so I had so I actually tested it out. I thought, okay, I can go for this. I'll try it. I was actually teaching then. I had just gotten my teaching credential, and I was working down in Roseville, where my grandkids went to John Adams Academy. So I was working down there and commuting back and forth, and my daughters all wanted me to move down there. And so but I didn't feel really released from here. I was just in church and all this stuff, like this is my community. And so I thought, well, I'll run for office, and if I win, I'll stay. If I don't, I'll go. And so that's
it. Pretty cut and dry.
Well, that'll be my test if this is the right thing. So that's what I did.
Kick the dust off my feet. I'm out of here.
So I ran and I won. So here I am still. And I
Decision made.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really amazing. So there I was in city council, and the only woman on the council, and I felt like I just wanted to come in and bring honor to the people and cohesiveness and really build bridges again that had seemed to have
I think that's part of your nature. You're a peacemaker. You really you get that. And I could just see her on city council when they're disagreeing. She goes, boys.
Totally.
You know what I'm
Don't make me mom you.
Exactly.
Yes.
I didn't want to say that, but that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like,
I'll say what you're thinking.
And because I know that if you're in a room with a bunch of fellas and a gal walks in, I don't care what anybody tells you, it changes the dynamic. And which I think is good. I don't think it's a negative, right? And so there could have been. That's right. How do you say? There could have been some disagreements among the members, and then throw you in the mix. And I think that's a good thing, right? Because if you can't get on the same page, how you can, how
do you get stuff done if you're not on the same page?
Are you already going down that road?
No, not Kelly. No, I don't have the time. We talked about this.
Oh, well, as long as you're not bailing on me, I'm fine.
Yeah. Who's going to bake the bread? Are you going to go bake it?
Oh, no.
See?
That would be Italian bread, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We changed. We're no longer sourdough, we're Italian. Yeah. We digress.
Ever since I met Kelly, I figured she'll try anything.
I really will.
You know? And I mean,
Why not?
If she's got she's got to have a leaning, you know?
Yeah.
And so you just told that story and she can say no because you weren't thinking about it, but it could happen.
It could happen. Really, yeah, anything could happen, which I felt like before that, I had been a hospice chaplain. And that was kind of a new thing for me. And I was a little bit nervous. I wondered if I could, that was one of the things I did while I was going to school, but I wondered if I could really help people, be whatever they needed. I just didn't really know. Here in town through, was Fremont Right Out Hospice, I think.
My mom's a retired hospice nurse, so that's why I'm asking. Yeah.
What a great bunch of people. I loved it. Yeah, all the nurses, everybody there. A lot of the people who do hospice have had hospice support themselves for a family member. And so, and I think that's their connection to seeing how wonderful it is. And so, but it was a great thing. But part of that, one day I got to do a funeral service for a veteran down at Dixon. At that big
the National Cemetery down there.
It was really
that's amazing.
Yeah. But I was nervous, all these things were new. And I got to do a training for the new hospice volunteers. I did one portion of the training and got to tell them about my experience. But I said, I'm not all that.
Yeah.
I'm not at all. But I learned to just show up and say yes, right? Just that became kind of a motto, show up and say yes. And really, fear can keep us from so many things. And we just never know what we're capable of or how God can meet us unless we try something. And I really feel like, we've been prepared every day leading up to today has given us experience and wisdom, all that prepared us for today. And if we don't have something in the moment, I feel like God can totally show up and help in that moment. And so I thought, okay, why not? Why live in a little box? Why live a boring life? Why not try some things? Let's have an adventure. And so that's kind of what I've been on. So city council was kind of
if you
were adventure.
Running for mayor, I never would have imagined that. But I think all the other experience gave me the confidence to try to do that.
So if you were driving down the road.
I know where this is going.
I don't know.
Stephanie doesn't know where this is going. I know where this is going.
And you saw a sign that said, call this number if you want to be a fireman. Would you call the number?
Well, I don't want to be a fireman. So.
Kelly did that. She did that. She called the number.
I called before I could chicken out.
And that's the part of the story. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I am I will get perfection paralysis where I'm I need everything to be perfect before I'll do it. And more, the older I get, the more I'm I'm just going to say yes and figure it out before.
Well, that's apparent by you sitting right there.
I know, right? I come in for an interview before the end of the show. I'm co-hosting.
I did everything but get on my knees and beg her. I just knew.
I said yes before we got to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes I think it works that way. And so when you say, I ran for city council, right? It's like, okay. And then once you got in there, there's a learning curve to everything.
Yeah.
But you were very successful at it. And it was just a right thing at the right time. It's you feel like you got stuck in when that was needed,
Absolutely. You were right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I felt like that too. And I felt like in the beginning, I kind of questioned. There was a council member was asking, what project are you working on? I'm like, am I supposed to work on a project? I'm supposed to be. What am I supposed to be doing?
This is a job?
Yeah, I didn't read the manual on this.
So I was coming in green, totally.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? I don't know. I feel like I'm showing up to meetings, I'm reading my stuff, I'm, doing what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. But then I realized as I started to see different things happening, that my personality really was something that was perfect
right
at the time,
thing at
like
the right
reaching
time.
out to different agencies and even in Yuba City and just building bridges and developing relationships that were favorable for the city. And, some of my other giftings just really worked. And so that gave me the confidence to feel like, okay, I'm the right person for now in this. And so, yeah, it was good. I'm just so grateful that I had that experience, and it was a lot of fun. And then obviously got to, increase my circle quite a bit and get to know more people in the community. And so, yeah, I loved it. It was great.
That's awesome. Well, you have just such like a calm presence to you that I feel like anything like politics or board wise would be such a good fit for you, because you can get so heated over stuff. And so to have somebody that is that calm presence there changes the room, like Fish was saying,
That's
it
why
makes
you're here.
I know. 'Cause you're off the hook. Yeah.
Off the hook. Did you just say that?
I did. You should have heard what Lonnie and Kurt were saying before I came here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I agree with Kelly. That is part of who you are. And then you also have the task force. Now, did that happen before you ran for city council, or when did that happen?
That
that born
happened
out of it?
after I was in office. This is another great story. It's like amazing stories. So there's the League of California Cities does professional development trainings for council members and mayors, and they had in January they had an event in Sacramento for new council members and mayors that I went to, and so there was a lunch that I was going to, and I kind of came in late to the lunch, and it was this room full of tables, like a sea of tables and people, and I was like, okay, where am I going to sit? So I walked and walked and walked until I found a table with an empty seat and sat down, and come sitting next to me was a city manager from Chowchilla. We started talking, and he said, what's your vision for your city? Like, why are you, what? So I started telling him, what I felt like. And he said, oh, you need to meet my friend Sam. And so Sam Estes was a retired pastor from Sanger, California, who this city manager had worked in Sanger for a while. Anyway, he was the founder of the task force in Sanger, California. And so he and I talked, and this was early 2017. And so as he was telling me their story, I thought, oh, we need to do this here. I think this is going to be really important to our community and bringing us together. And so I think 2019 was finally, 2018 or 19 was when we had our first meeting. But Sam came up for an event, and he spoke a little bit, and people were like, oh, yeah, this is great. So we started, I think, February of 2019. And got people together. So the idea of the task force, for people watching and don't know what that is, the idea of a community task force is to bring people from all sectors of the community. So business, healthcare, education, government, family, church, whatever, nonprofits, service organ, everybody from all sectors, because we tend to isolate and, operate in silos. If we're in education, we know people in education, but we don't know people in government.
Yeah.
All that. And so we don't have a full picture of our community always, or have all the resources that are available to us, and vice versa. Maybe entertainment or media is not connected to education when they could really be benefited by each other. And so the idea is to bring everybody to the table to talk about issues in the community and talk about how we can share our resources, how we can share our ideas, partner together to do good things, maybe come up with new things or support each other in current things that are going on. So that's what that's about. But man, it's been a powerful little entity, powerful relationships.
I remember when they first came up, I was at the meeting, and then you had talked to me and said, hey, do you want to be part of this? And I was like, I love you, Stephanie. If I take on one more thing, I'm not going to make it to 50 years of marriage, right? It's like you only take on so much, but it wasn't like I didn't believe in it. And it's one more time, I think you were the right person at the right time, because people can get behind that. A certain kind of personality is inviting and inclusive, and you're that way. Others can be very divisive, though they mean well, right? It's like, well, we're going to come together, but not you people.
Yeah.
And maybe they're anti school, education. They're disappointed with the system, and so they would not have been inclusive. And you're not like that. You were very inclusive. You were even okay with me. I just outed myself.
Right? Nobody else
I was
knew.
like, I'm here doing a formal apology.
Yeah. Well, now
I'm really
now let's hear
sorry,
it.
Stephanie.
Why don't you come?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
you're on camera, so
Yeah, but that's too
ask
late
him
now.
Now's
right?
the time to ask.
Yeah. And so I just think it's been that way. So then after that, so you were doing that when you actually ran for mayor.
Yes.
That's
Doing a
amazing.
lot. And teaching kindergarten, teaching school at Ella. Doing a lot of stuff.
That was an intense mayoral race. It really was. To come down to 4 votes, it wasn't like it wasn't like you guys were completely opposite. There was this sense of I want to see change. Your change was I've already been there, and I, being on city council, and I could see that. And then Chris's was more visionary from the standpoint of I've been on the outside looking in, so I can see where it can go. It would have been actually a great thing if they could have pulled you both in and combined that. I think it would have been. I mean, I know we don't do that, right? Because you either vote one or the other, and that's it. But Marysville votes their mayor in, and that has always kind of amazed me that Yuba City. They're voted into the council, and then they take turns serving. It's way different.
It's different. And I actually think that's a good thing because I think sometimes having a rotating mayor, because I think sometimes we can get too focused on feeling like one person is going to be the savior. Not speaking anything negative about our current mayor at all. Or anybody, or me, if it had been me, sometimes I think there's too much focus on one person when really decisions are made as a group.
Corporately.
And so I think also that if it's a good capacity building, team building thing, and experience building for a council, like if everybody rotates through mayor, then you're building the capacity and giving greater experience to each person. I think that's good. Because it's a great leadership development opportunity for everyone just being on the council, at all. And then getting to be in the seat of mayor, then you're getting to do those honorary type of things and representing the city in a little bit of different way, but and all the ceremonial types of things. But I think that's good experience for people. And then it kind of takes away like one person has all the power. There's a perception there that really isn't real. And so...
No, I found that out.
That has a strong mayor. We don't have a strong mayor in either city.
Yeah.
So, that would be interesting to see that. But also, I think the continuity and the experience that somebody gets in a position for a period of time is good too. So,
it's like flipping the coin. Sometimes I think, am I pro term limits? Right?
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh man, if we
does it depend?
Yeah. Well, because there's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And so at least 2 terms are necessary. Because the first one, you're on the learning curve, and it's steep. I don't care what anybody thinks. All the stuff you have to learn. And so the idea of being a mayor and the decisions are consensus, right? We're all working together. So I can definitely see your point where it's like, hey, if they rotate through that, it's like, don't be so hard on the guy because you're next.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we got to work together on this, right? So it's like, you might want to think this through.
Yeah,
Bring them a nice loaf of bread. I know where you can get it.
Maybe have a little compassion for the next person coming through. But I feel like this all makes sense now that I know that you were a kindergarten teacher because I'm like, her calm presence, what she brings to, like.
I thought you were going to say working with the guys.
Well, that too. I mean, what you bring to, to whatever group you work with, I'm sure. So
Mr. Councilman, don't make me put you in the
Right.
corner. You're wearing the dunce cap.
And you can look at somebody, right? And you can give them that look.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
The teacher look. Yeah.
They're like,
just- you're also
what do you call it, momming you?
Yeah. Don't make me mom you.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of calm, slow voice.
Yeah. But still, that authority is there, right? You know?
Yeah.
So
what a
what's
combination.
next?
Yeah.
I want to know.
Oh, well, I don't know what's but what's right now is really exciting, and it's pretty new, actually. So I'm actually, I'm stopped teaching kindergarten in 21, midway through 2021. Worked for Jerry Handy for a few minutes for a couple of years in the interim time doing a little business with him. But now I am back with Marysville Unified, and I'm managing the California Community Schools Partnership Program grant.
Very cool.
So I'm working in the district office, and so this kind of ties into my community vision, really, and some, part of what we had really envisioned as a task force wanting to come alongside of our schools and provide support to the schools, which has been a huge vision of mine for a long time because of what happened in Sanger, California. And so let me go back to that story a little bit, because what happened in Sanger was they had a community crisis. Pastors got together, they started a task force, and out of that, every school in their district got adopted by, in their case, a church. It didn't have to, could be a community group or whatever, but in their case, it was a church adopted each campus and did simple things like once a month pizza party, or bringing food to staff lunches, or helping at the school carnivals, just having a relationship and just supporting in different ways, like whatever seemed to be helpful, right, and encouraging. Their Sanger School District was in the bottom 2% of California schools in performance scores when that started. After 7 years, they were in the 98th percentile of California schools. Wow. That was such an anomalous change because their demographic is very similar to ours. So lots of, poverty and, crime and drugs and all kinds of stuff, just...
What?
Difficult situations for kids to be growing up in. And so it's anomalous because those things usually equate to non-success, but that they defied those odds. And so Stanford actually did a study on them, like what happened here.
Yeah.
And they attributed a big part of that to the community connection. And so I'm like, let's do it here, right?
Yes.
I want that to happen here. So that's kind of been my mission. And so all the things I was doing, my city council, doing the task force, teaching, and I'm like, I just want to be in the community more. And so for years, I've been trying to figure out how can I get paid to do community work. Yeah. So that was kind of like my mission. And so now...
Don't do radio.
Fish should tell me this job is free.
Don't do TV.
Bread and drinking coffee.
The coffee's free, that's it.
Yeah. So I actually pitched myself to the superintendent and said, you know what? I think you need somebody to do this, have a position for someone to do this at the school district, for somebody to coordinate and facilitate this community connection. And she said, we have a grant and we have a position identified for that. So I'm like,
wow,
here I am.
Wow, it's me.
Here I am. So actually ended up interviewing for that and started in January. But really, so what I'm doing, my job is actually to facilitate providing supports, coordinating supports for students and schools so that they could be most successful. And there's a lot of detail to that. But I have people that are working for me. We just hired them, 6 great, energetic people who I'm going to get to really mentor and into this. But they have this type of a vision as well. So I'm really excited because I'm going to get to inspire them and mentor them and train them and really just help launch them, because now that I'm really there, you need more than one person to do that, right? You need somebody at every school to do that. So so that's what's happening. So I'm in the district office, and I have a beautiful office and a nice boss. And
I keep threatening to come over and see you. This is right around the corner.
Field trip.
You need to come over.
Trip. We're doing field trip. Our next one's live. We're there. Yeah. Have somebody shoot
How
that.
exciting to have your passion project turn into a career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a
Yes.
lot of people get to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really grateful. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you.
I've just been in since January, so we May, so like 5 months so far. Yeah, I'm excited, and it's keeping me busy, but it's a really fun project, and I'm kind of back in my education world, but in a more administrative way, so that's fun too.
Well, you know, it's really wonderful to Dr. Fall Esrani. She came and she talked to me because, you know, there's been this us and them, the school and us, right? And she sees past that. Now, she may not have the right mix in terms of she's figuring it out as she goes. But you telling me what you have, I get that. And somebody is figuring out we have to get the community and the school to not be like we're separate entities, right?
Yeah.
We're all in this together. Those kids belong to all of us. And so I gave her every Friday. I haven't done this with anybody. And every Friday, and the 7 o'clock interview is so that more and more we can say, this is what's going on in our schools, and here it is, so they can see it, right, and hear it. And I think that's important. And so you go on board because you're very community minded, but you were a school teacher. It's not like it's foreign territory to you. So it could not have been more. One more time, you got stuck where you were supposed to be.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love my life, actually. Yeah, I'm enjoying my life, and I think it's really good. And I think that is part of the thing. Like, just back to those silos, right? We need to be out connecting, and schools have operated like that. Government has operated like that, and that's one thing. When I was on the council, I went to Gary Sena. He was a superintendent at that time, and said, "How can the city support the district? You know, what do you guys need? Because you're right in the middle of our city. Like, you're a huge part of what happens here." So we started those conversations then too. But I think it's really important for all of us to be really connected and looking for ways to support each other and help each other. Because if you're successful, I'm successful, right? And if our community,
I believe in that. Yeah.
Our community, our economy, if our schools are successful, right, our community is going to be more successful, because if you think about the economic impact that a successful school population has, you have graduates that are competent, capable, educated people. They can start businesses. They can be great employees, right? All that kind of stuff. Beale Air Force Base, instead of locating to other towns like Wheatland or Roseville, like Wheatland's good, they're with us, but Nevada City or other Roseville, and sending their kids to other schools, maybe instead they would send their kids to our local schools. And, you know, so all of those things grow together. They all grow together. So
I think people are wanting to have confidence in the school system. I think it's going to take some hard work for the school system to get there, right? But at the same time, the minute you start opening the door, the potential is greater, right? In other words, it isn't us and them. Yes, we're raising your kids, but we want you to be part of it. We want you to understand that your voice is heard, that it is important. We had Kirsten Ciociola on, and she ran for school board for Yuba City Unified.
yeah.
And she was a hoot, but I could see where she'll be the one asking the questions. Why are we doing this? And so she's very community minded. And I feel that way about you, is that, you know, your life has tracked in such a way that you know how to be a mom. And so sometimes, I guess, don't make me mom you. I love that, Kelly. Don't make me mom you. I think that's important because, you know, when children are really young, I know this from doing the preschool for so long, they're nurtured by your mom, and little boys don't really kick out of that till they're about 9 or 10. And then they're like, where's the dude?
Yeah.
Right? You know, but they'll always, my boys will always have mom has a different relationship with them than dad.
Yeah.
And there is that nurturing side that tells them, you're a good man. Dad can tell them all day long and they go, whatever, he just wants me to mow the lawn.
Yeah.
Right?
Flashlight.
Yeah, hold the flame. Exactly. No, not like that, like that. Whereas moms just absolutely secure something. I think this way. I don't know that I'm right, but there is something that moms secure in boys that bring them into manhood with a confidence in a way that a dad can't. And dads do that with girls. They somehow secure who they are, right? It's that thing. And I've always felt that way. I remember seeing that Princess Bride, that story. I love that story. That little girl, the gal was being mean to her and she says, I'm a princess. My daddy will come and get me because I'm a princess. And the gal goes, the lady, the head woman, whatever. She said, you're not a princess. And she said, yes, I am. She said, how do you know you're a princess? She said, because my daddy said I was. And the woman got a look on her face and the little girl says to her, your daddy never told you that. Come on, man. That was a killer line. Wow, and it's like there is something that secures. And when we've, talked about getting women in the workforce and women in the leadership and that, it was all this equality. I got news for people. It's got nothing to do with equality. It is the credibility of how the two mix and how it makes it work.
It does.
And so seeing that with the school system and saying, hey, get involved.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to.
No, I'm not. I know. You're just over here
you
trying
can to bread
pile
to
more things on. Yeah.
You don't have to run.
But anyway,
thank you.
So I just think you're the right person at the right time. And you bring, like you said, a calmness. You carry that. You carry that peace and calmness with you. And I say you're a peacemaker, right? Yeah. You just slide in and they're going, that. You know what? I'm going to tell you, come on. You walk in and they go, well, it's like composure instantly, right? Or at least you would hope.
Yeah.
So from here, would you consider running again for office? I mean, can you imagine that with where you're at?
I would consider it. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. And I love the city still. I'm still here, but I love it. I love, one thing I miss is really being in the circles, in the same circles. And
knowing what's
I love the people, we just have wonderful people here working. And I like that. I like that work. I like those conversations. I like being in the middle of the action, knowing what's going on and being part of the decision making, just kind of being a voice in the middle of all that process. And so, I think if the, conditions were right, and I don't know what that necessally means to me, but I would consider it, Well,
I'm going to recommend a campaign manager.
She knows nothing about it, but she'll figure it out.
She doesn't need to know. She just needs to be her, right? And I've been telling you, she would grab hold of that. And, although I would be like a bread in every pantry. Like she would never do that. She would be legit, right?
Yeah.
She wouldn't be buying votes. That's,
That's why Fish is never running.
That's it. I have been asked, why don't I run for office? And honestly, man, I see what people go through to do that. And like you said, it's like, okay, now I'm going to take on, you're not taking on some little thing. That city council is not a part-time job. There's a lot involved.
If you want to do it right, it's not. And I was busy.
And so,
it's a commitment, which is a good commitment, and I'm grateful for the commitment I made and the time that I spent. And I think I did do a good job. Like if I say that without sounding, but I feel like I'll get phone calls from
turn around, we'll pat you on the back.
Yeah, I was going to say, own it. You did a great job.
Own it, exactly.
But I think we were known in Yuba City, and they appreciated that. So there were just different things that just because of my personality, not because of anything amazing, right? But it worked, and it helped the city, I believe. And I'll get phone calls and say, "Oh, we were trying to think of somebody from Marysville, and we thought of Stephanie." So I thought, okay, I did a good job representing our city. That's our job, right? To put our city in a good light, to open doors for opportunity for our city, and so I felt like I was able to do that. And so what a privilege and an honor, right, to represent a city. So yeah, I would love to do that again. So we'll see. I don't know if I will, but I would love that. It's such an honor.
I don't think everybody can, and I also don't think everybody should.
No. Yeah, that's probably even more important.
But I'm still looking at you.
I know.
Well, it's about stewardship, I think, for qualifications. Like sometimes you think you have to have, and experience obviously helps, and knowledge helps.
Life
But
experience.
I think, right, life
experience,
experiences like stewardship, right? Have you been a good steward over what you have, like your home, your children, your family, your business? Can you take care of that? Like, and it's a biblical principle, right? If you can take care of a little bit, then you could be trusted with more, right? If you can manage that, you can be trusted with more. So I think, any kind of leadership, and city leadership, county leadership, governmental leadership has a lot to do with stewardship, and have you qualified by stewarding your life and things, responsibilities well, then chances are you could probably do it at another level of influence. And so I think it has a lot to do with that, and not government training,
Yeah.
We took a different route.
Do tell.
We're going to do this and be influencers.
Yes. Maybe the wrong kind of influencers. We're influencing coffee, bread, community.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's just like we're getting to see. This has been fun. We've only done half dozen or so of these, but it's like who we're talking to, and you begin to see the picture unfolding of the different people that are in our community. But so many people they're not on the downside of we're going nowhere.
Oh, right.
Right? I mean, we're hearing, there's, and I like that they changed considering Marysville, they quit saying potential, right? It's not about potential. Things are happening, right?
Things going on.
And I feel that way about Yuba City, Marysville. I say that they're both the county seat for two counties.
Right.
They're right next to each other.
Yeah.
The cities are right next to each other. Greater opportunity to exchange things, to share things. There's a lot of agencies that are joint between the two counties, bi-county agencies. I mean, I just think that just speaks volumes of the people that are in leadership and their willingness to do that. And I just feel like you're that way. You are a uniter and a peacemaker, and it's like you know what I mean? You would push towards that. Whereas I'd be very, what?
Definitely. Like
He'd be the one that needed to be mommed.
Get bombed every meeting.
yeah. I think the more of us are working together, the stronger we can be, the more effective we can be. I just think the more the merrier, right? And the more ideas that come out. I don't have all the answers. Two of us in the room don't have all the answers, right? But it gets better and better as we have more input, I think, and more cooperation. So, yeah, the more we can do that. And what I don't like to see is like people get, that's a pet peeve. I don't know if I should share a pet peeve, but
do it.
I'll say it. If we're in a public agency and we're managing public funds and public resources, and we should have really no personal right to say, no, we're not going to work with that group, right? It's not their money. It's like public money.
Yeah.
So if it's beneficial to the public to be sharing and working together, then that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
But people want to build their little kingdom and say, no, this is mine, or, this is mine, and we're not going to.
You have to take the personal out of it.
We're going to hang on. It should not be about our personal wishes, desires, or, conflict with other people. It's not about that. We're public stewards of the public trust, right, and public funds and assets. So,
I really think people are tired of that. When people are running for an office and they want to come on the air, I tell them, I don't want to hear about the other guy. I don't want to hear about what the other guy. We just elected a president based on the idea of hate the other guy.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Right? I
no
mean,
way
is
to
that,
do it.
as a nation, we voted a guy in on hate the other guy. And nothing to do with qualifications or nothing. And so I tell them when you come on the air, I don't want to hear what the other guy's doing, and neither does anybody else. We want to hear what you're going to do, and then we want to hold your feet to the fire. And I think that shift is happening more and more here. And that's why if
I
you
saw that
decide to
happen.
run again, Kelly's willing to be your campaign manager. And I will support Kelly.
Yes, he's going to come bake bread while I run your.
Oh, yeah, that's going to,
The quality will go down.
How much flour?
that's the bread business.
You're like the chef on Sesame Street.
Oh, be
Flour
more
everywhere.
I love those. Can you do the accent too?
Yeah.
Well, I am grateful that you know, I even got to know you, but that I've known you for a long time, and in the different transitions of your life. And I think, you know, when I met you, I wasn't doing radio. I was a pastor. I never thought this was going to happen.
Yeah,
that wasn't on my radar, right? But now that it has, and getting to do this, and like with you, I feel like we're introducing stuff to this show's introducing people to community. What did you call the one you had? Community something.
Community and connection.
Yeah, and so it's like we are connected, and whether we like it or not, and it's like I think you're right. It shouldn't be, you know, a good old boys club, or I like this group and don't like that group. We're community, and so
Yeah.
So I'm voting for you. Just tell me when and where.
Okay, thank you. One.
2. You got 2. Look at that. We can talk Kurt into it. You got 3 right now. You only need 4 to win.
You're in.
Go back to 2020. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's been good. So anyway, yeah, God bless all the council members and mayors and
There is a scripture that says,
supervisors and
pray for those who
all
have
those
the rule
people.
over you. Pray for
Yeah.
government. And I think
They do
sometimes
have a tough job.
we get a lot more done that way than we do criticizing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Definitely. And it's interesting, like, and I really noticed it, and I noticed other people going through it, that when you get in those spots, there's a whole nother level of like spiritual stuff that happens, but pressures and stresses and things that are coming at you that are different than the average citizen experience. And so we really do need to pray for them because they're, just under so many pressures that we don't understand.
Leadership's that way. I trained officers with the Guard, and the military is very pointed in the way they train, because the point is you're going to have to make a command decision under pressure. And I think that way about leadership. I mean, I have a school of leadership that I teach for that reason, to help people understand these foundational elements. When the heat's on, you will do what you're trained to do. And I think that's an imperative. And so your experience prior to going in, right, and then being in and seeing it, now you're even more experienced.
Yeah. And you change over time too. You know, we all grow. We don't. Hopefully, we're not staying where we were. So I know gained.
Well, we're going to hang a big
experience
sign on the front of the Hart building.
Roll it down.
Yes.
There it is.
Yep.
Your picture.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, when you come into Marysville, that would be kind of cool though, like coming into Marysville and just to be the greeter. Welcome to Marysville.
That would be something, huh?
I like, greeting, welcoming people. So that would,
Well, I can hang Kelly's out there with a loaf of bread.
People just think it was a bakery. They try and stop in here.
and some coffee and bread.
Bear Creek, right?
Yep.
People be like, what's that?
Yeah.
They'd go find out.
This must be a nice place.
Because now we just Google it or Facebook it, Oh, yeah, that's
Pops
what
right up.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time, Steph, to come on and do this. I've known you for a long time, and I mean this no way negative. You're a quiet force. You're a force, but you're not. You know what I mean?
You're not forceful in being a force, I think is what he's trying to say.
Thank you. Yeah,
Not
what
like to
she
break
said.
the door down.
It's like, you just, you know who you are and what you're doing. And I think it's a great connection. I'm glad that you do the task force because you're still doing that. Yeah. And now you're in a key position for something that we really need, and that's the school and community to be reconnected, You know, it's not us and them. You know, it's us. It's an us. And I mean, I know you're on this side of the river, right, in Marysville, but it's no different for Yuba City and Wheatland and, you know, Live Oak, Oliver's, you know, all these. It's important that the school get reintroduced, if you will, to the community and vice versa.
Yes,
that they really are very inviting. I know when you were on city council, there was a lot of conversation about we need to be business friendly. And so you walked through that whole thing about, man, if we want new business here, we got to invite them. We got to let them know we want them here. And I think you being where you are now with the school, you can help them understand. You're going to have to really let them know that we want them to be part of what we're doing.
Yeah. And especially after COVID, I think that message is even more important because everything shut down, right? Parents didn't come on campus. Nobody came on campus. Teachers barely came on campus for a while, right? It was just so
They
closed
were
down.
Zooming their classes.
Right. So I think the message needs to really get out there that we're open for business. We're open for families to be on campus again and for community members to be on campus again. So, yeah, people are welcome now. And, yeah, that's what we're doing through the community schools partnership program is say, hey, we want to partner with you. We need you. We need community members coming to school and reading to kids or volunteering during recess or doing after school programs or whatever it is, bringing your talent, you know, like to do art, you like to do music. I mean, there's opportunity for people. And I heard a great, Amy Noor actually mentioned this one time and I thought, oh, how fun. But it was, I don't know if I have the name right, but basically grandmas that read. So a lot of grandmas are retired, right? You like to read. You've grown up reading to your children and all that. But teachers would love it if we had grandmas that like to read and come in and read to students with students. And because a lot of times teachers don't have the time to sit down one-on-one for very long, you know, maybe you have like 2 minutes maybe with a student, but you're trying to still manage the rest. To read with kids. So somebody just come in and sit in a chair and read with children, listen to them read, help them with their reading. That's powerful. And
absolutely.
Really impact. It doesn't take that much time with a kid if you have consistent time one-on-one with them. It doesn't take much time to just get them right where they need to be with anything, really. And so if anybody has extra time to come in and do that kind of
calling all grandmas.
Yeah, calling all grandmas.
I heard her.
I heard her too.
Yeah. Bring your coffee.
Yeah.
We got books.
Yep.
Right. Just come with your comforting presence and encouragement. And yeah, there's lots and lots of opportunity.
They had career
Gardeners
day
too.
at McKinney and asked me to come and talk about radio. Right. And I know that some of the questions were prepared, right? But there were some pretty funny ones on there, like, you know, what don't you like about your job, right? And it's like, did you really just ask me that? You know, and it's like, but it was really good. You could tell there were kids who were more outspoken and would ask the questions, but you could tell the other ones were listening, right? And so sometimes the question you would have asked, somebody else asked, but it was, I did 2 classes. It was rather unique for me, right? I was like, right? But really good response from the kids. And an instructor I just watched the way the instructor was with the kids so that they did feel comfortable asking things. But because at first I thought, career day for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, what career are they going to get at this point? But they're already thinking about it.
Yeah.
There was a little gal in the front row in one of the classes, and she said, because I had asked, really, if you get a passion to do something when you're young, potential of that happening is far greater, right? Because right. She said, I want to do reality TV. And before I could even think about it, I said, honey, you realize it's not real, right? It's scripted. So if you do it, do real TV, right? Do it real, reality, right? But I don't know what she thought of that, but it was, sometimes it just.
Yeah, sometimes you can't stop it.
But yeah, it was fun. And I agree with you, get involved. There's always ways to get involved. And but that was the school reaching out and saying, hey, we would like the community to come in.
Yeah.
She's going to teach bread making, but she has an ulterior motive. It gives her more of a supply chain.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. I'm going to need 100 loaves by end of week. Move it.
Yeah. It's like, could the school buy 3 or 4 commercial ovens?
Yeah. Exactly. You're onto something.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Well, we talked to Tim, and he said that UC Davis bought 3 or 4
Roasters.
roasters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice. Yeah, all those partnerships. See, they had a resource to bring to school that they couldn't provide on their own. So, those partnerships, they're gold.
Yeah.
Is there a bread making 101?
No. I don't know. I'm self-taught. So,
that's what I mean. It started out that way, right? It's like you said,
reading books and testing recipes.
You can do that. You can do an after-school club, or even home ec.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
I still remember my home ec teacher from 7th grade, Mrs. Brooks.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they even
do
have
home
home ec anymore?
I don't know if they
I don't
do.
think they do. They don't
haven't
do
heard
cursive
of that.
anymore. I don't think they do home ec.
I haven't heard of home ec. That was a good class. I didn't ever take it, but I had friends that took it. And I remember them using the little hand beater to beat eggs.
Yeah.
And trying to crack an egg without getting you hear all these.
No shells in. Yeah.
No shells, all this stuff.
It's paid off.
And
Nobody's gotten a shell.
Yeah. And I think they had to do a biscuit or a cream puff or something, and they had to rise just right with the hole in the middle. I just remember these conversations. But what a great experience.
Yeah.
To have home ec.
Yeah,
I took. Bring it back.
I took metal shop.
That's like a CTE class.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do
I
have.
took metal shop, wood shop, automotive repair, drafting.
No home ec for you.
Did you take no home ec, no English, no? I mean, I had the
All
ones,
the fun
but
stuff. I just had a fun day.
It's like, what did you learn in school? Man, I can make an ashtray out of wood, metal. It doesn't
learn some life
couple
skills.
notches in it. But
Life skills.
exactly. Yep. Now that everybody in the world's quit smoking, man, I'm out of a job.
Gotta make bowls.
That was the automotive.
They're still eating.
Yeah. I still have automotive.
Yeah.
I could,
Not for long.
Yeah. What's next? It's all a computer. Pretty soon you'll be in a box with a computer in the front.
And the robot will be turning those things.
Yeah, exactly. Home, James.
Wild. I know.
Like,
Yeah.
well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Oh gosh. Well, I should talk about my grandkids a little bit. I mention them. I've got a bunch of I love my children. I have 4 children. Grown, they all have kids, and so today, actually this afternoon, I'm going to see Eloise. She's my oldest granddaughter, graduate from high school.
Wow.
So that's a big milestone in our lives, just one of those markers. And then next week, another one, Emma, she goes to River Valley. She's going to be graduating from high school. So proud of my kids and my grandkids. They're, obviously just such a wonderful part of my life, So, them, and what else should I talk about?
Well, I just got done telling Kelly, she told me that the youngest is Oliver. Uh-huh. The youngest is Oliver. And I said, wow, I love that. It's like a returning to names. And you just mentioned Emma. My mom's name is Emma. My favorite all-time girl's name. I just think it's such a cool name.
I know. When she said that, I'm like, Fish and I were just.
Yeah. It's like,
Emma.
There's an Emma graduating high school. That's
Emma Rose is her.
My mom was Emma May.
Oh, sweet.
Emma May.
That's awesome.
Those old names.
Yeah.
So I don't know, nothing's popping into my head, but I'm just, thank you for being here. This is just really nice to talk about these things. There's so many amazing things going on. And, sometimes you reminisce through your life and think, wow, you've done some really cool things, had some great experiences. So I'm grateful for all of that and just thinking, what's next? I don't know what's after this little piece of time. There's probably something else amazing coming.
I'm sure there
after
is.
that, but I'm really looking forward to just seeing our community continue to get better and better, right? And just develop. And really, it's about families and children. That's like the core of our community, right? The family unit being strong. And so I'm just going to keep on praying for our community, right?
Well, that's it.
That's what we need to really pray and try to love each other, Really just love each other.
It's easy to
encourage
find
each other.
places we disagree. But the truth is, it's not that hard to find places we can agree. And I have found that the community, we may not all have the exact same thought as to how it can improve, but there are so many avenues. Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one, get involved.
Right.
Kelly doesn't have to run for politics.
I can get involved without running.
Yeah, I should say Say Love. I'm part of Say Love too, but that's an amazing thing. So Say Love and the task force both started the same month in 2019. So that's just been a great thing, and we've got a great, lots of participation. A great group in Marysville that's working now. So I head up the Marysville crew. So that's just fun. We just had it this Saturday, and that's a great partnership between the city of Marysville and Say Love. Working on that. That's another fun part of life. And
I see you out there on Facebook. Picking up trash.
Yeah, picking it up. But what I just thought of when you were just talking about, finding something to do or not having to clash. But I'm trying to think of the guy's name, Lance Wallnow. Did you ever listen to Lance Wallnow? It's been years since I saw him do it. It was on like finding direction for your life, or kind of fitting your passion with your skills and your situation. But one thing he said that always stuck with me is like, go with what's working. Like if something's not working, like instead of butting heads, right? Instead of like being frustrated, it's not working, go with what's working and with who wants to work with you, right? That's kind of a signal. Sometimes it's like, okay, there's momentum here. There is a opportunity here. Let's do this, rather than being upset. Sometimes I think we can get hyper focused on even things in the community that aren't working well. They're not going anywhere, but there are lots of things that are going somewhere and working well. And so I think too, if we just keep our focus on what's positive and build on those things, like I was saying before, everything's going to grow together. Those influences will bleed over, and eventually there'll be time for that thing that's not working quite right yet, so.
It's easy to find naysayers.
Right, there's all
easy.
Yeah, it's so easy, and that can be so discouraging, and it's not really fruitful.
No.
Right, it's not fruitful to get into that place where
I'm very fortunate. I have
healthy.
people in my life that are supportive,
Right.
And we need that. Everybody, I once read a book. I actually had to see if I can find it. And the name of the book is Balcony People. And somebody had given it to me, and it's like there are people in your life when you're on the stage of life that are up in the balcony. Come on, Stephanie, come on, you can do it, right? And we all need those people in our life. I mean, moms do that automatically with their children, right? They're the best balcony people, right? They get it, right? They read it. Dads are like, hold the flashlight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just that thing. Well, when we get older, it's not like we don't need that.
Right.
We still need balcony people in our life and I've been very fortunate. I've always had a few balcony people in my life that, I'll be thinking, gosh, it's like this, even doing this thing's expanding, right? And so, God just sent me a balcony girl she could yell.
I'll cheerlead any day.
I believe in you, Fish. I got you a cup.
Yeah.
If I didn't believe in you, you'd have never got that
Exactly.
cup. I'm showing you how much. And then, of course, I turned around and got you a cup.
I know. That was so nice of you.
Am I thoughtful?
We were thinking the same thing on the same day.
Kurt will put a disclaimer on the bottom.
Yeah.
Under it, it'll say, Kelly actually bought both
Kelly
cups.
bought herself.
It's like he's not getting out of this.
Yeah.
It's like,
I witnessed it. It wasn't true.
So I see Fish and Minnow. Do you have your name on yours too?
Minnow.
You
It's
both
Minnow.
say Fish and Minnow.
Mine is Minnow.
Yours is Minnow, and his is
Because I'm the minnow. His is fish.
I asked her, I said, are you
Oh my
okay
gosh.
with that? And I thought, well, she came up with that.
Yeah.
I love it.
People underestimate the minnow.
Yeah, exactly. I told her, I said,
Right. They keep swimming.
minnows are bait. She said, I'm okay with that.
Unfazed.
Attract the fish for good things.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. And if it happens where you run again, we're going to have her on.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
find out, well, what's that like? When you going back in there again,
Man, yeah, that'd be wild.
Yeah.
I know I had a little moment of that'd be a chance, but who knows? We'll see.
Well, it's a big deal. Things are changing. The city's changing.
Yes.
I think sometimes it's really wonderful if something's been in place for a long time, that there are times when you go, nah, not time for it to move. And then there comes a place where it does need to change, right? In order for things around it to change,
Yeah.
And so you were part of that catalyst that, we're in during that whole time when all of Marysville City Council was changing, new people were coming on. It's really kind of funny.
Yeah.
They go on. I think it was Kirsten told us that when she got elected to the school board, there was 2 of them, and they're kind of, I don't know how many's on the school board, but they were kind of like,
This is it now.
okay, we're in
Now
now.
the real fun begins. Yeah.
We might have to do
Yeah.
it, So.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing, like running and all this stuff, and then you find out what's really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new. It's good though. It's a good thing. I think, if people have the mind to do it and the opportunity to do it and the disposition for it, then it's a great thing to do because you learn so much about your community. You really learn how things really work, And we have one idea, sitting in the seat, you have one idea, but it could be completely different than you imagine. But it's
Usually
a
it
good
is.
thing to do, yeah. Even planning commissions. Planning commissions are great things to serve on. And just a plug for it, there's all kinds of commissions to serve on. Like right now, I know there's an opportunity at the, what is it called? The Mosquito Abatement
Oh,
Board. They have a vacant seat for the Marysville seat. So it's just a opportunity to serve and represent
I hate
and just be a
mosquitoes.
voice on theirs. Yeah. So if you,
I'm like, when
on
I
that.
go to heaven, I'm going to say, Lord, I got a couple of questions. Mosquitoes and flies.
why?
Is there something I missed on that? And really, on the ark, was there 2 mosquitoes? Because they could have missed that boat. We'd all been better off.
Yeah.
Were there flies on board? There's a lot of animals. So probably there were
animals,
flies.
probably.
And I bet there was more than 2 of those rascals that were like, come on, bring Cousin Herbie. Right? We're like,
They had to
We
be
only
hunted
live a
up
few
because they were,
days, yeah.
where they were spotting those flies and mosquitoes. They had to be hiding.
Noah and his kids, Noah's like, don't kill that. There's only 2.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, whoops, no mosquitoes.
They
there's
missed
one.
a few.
It's probably a good thing I wasn't on the boat. Father Noah, where's the fly swatter?
Yeah.
We're stopping this right now.
Yeah.
So
They weren't good shots.
thank you.
Thank you for having me. This has been really nice. I always love sitting and talking with you, and I get to talk with Kelly, which I haven't ever got to done really at this length of time.
I know.
So this was nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're planning on having cups for the guest, but you're not getting mine.
What will it say?
We'll get
Fish
you one,
minnow.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you can say I was in the tank.
Oh, that's an awesome idea. Yeah, I want, 'cause
See?
what a great place
They're
to
going to be
Not
desired.
everybody gets to be in the tank with fish.
Oh, I got it.
What can
Okay,
I
you
say?
ready?
Say I survived the
Okay,
tank.
are you nervous?
I'm never nervous.
So we put our pictures in the bottom of the cups.
Finish their coffee. There we are, staring back at him. Totally. Yes.
It says in the tank, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
enough.
pretty cute.
So I want to thank everybody for this particular episode of In the Tank with Fish and Kelly. I really want to thank Stephanie for taking the time to come on. And she's very gentle and soft-spoken, but kind of like one of the presidents we had. She carries a big stick. And so it's called that mom. What's that called? You've been
Momming.
mommed. Oh, you've been mommed, right? And so, just so you know that. Anyway, we're going to be right back, and then Kelly and I will talk about how you too
Could get.
can have one of these. We're going to get T-shirts.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All right, we're going to be right back. Stay with us. We appreciate you watching.
Hi, my name is Denise Landis, and I'm the owner of Edible Memories Bakery here on 3rd Street in downtown Marysville. We facilitated the market every Thursday on 3rd. We have food trucks, vendors, and live music every Thursday from 3 to 7:30 here on the corner of 3rd and D Street in downtown historic Marysville. Our vision was to bring an atmosphere of community, and that takes you coming out and joining in the fun with us. We hope to see you here.
Welcome back. So we just had Stephanie McKenzie on, and she was so fun. Soft-spoken, but still fun.
I know, but it's like she makes me want to just do this, right?
Right?
She's so. I could, if she had.
You can't listen to her while driving.
No, if she had an answering machine, I'd be calling it at night so I could go to sleep. Not because she's boring, but because she has such a soft, just relaxing.
Yeah, she's calming. It's a calming presence.
Yeah.
I gotta say it. So
go ahead.
Your toucan shirt matches the logo exactly, and that's all I could think the whole time was that you coordinated that so well.
Wardrobe assigned this to me, and wardrobe would be my wife, and so it's like, yeah. You said that. I was like, really? I didn't even think about it. But
I mean, you match the mugs.
I love it.
You match everything.
So
I love that you never know how you know somebody. It's so funny. All our guests will come on, and it's like, you'll say, I don't remember where I met you, and we still can't remember.
No.
Yeah.
We're just glad we did, right? Yeah. It's that thing where it's like, I don't know. If your first meeting is significant,
yeah,
you remember that. But if you just sort of grow, relationally, I think that's what happens. Mm-hmm. And when I think about it, all the really good relationships I have, I can't remember how we met.
Yeah. Except maybe your wife. I hope you remember how you met your wife.
Oh, man.
Do you remember how you met your wife?
I do.
Is this an appropriate story?
I said, well, I had been assigned in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And I remember going, I'm marrying a Filipino girl. Uh-huh. I want that, right? It was not her intellect, she was Filipino.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I got assigned to Japan, I apparently that's all I talked about was, I'm going to meet a Filipino girl. Yeah. But all the ones you would meet, I mean, they're married to GIs, right? So, you're not going to, right?
Yeah.
And she showed up on base. She was from the Bay Area, but she was in the Air Force. And a friend of mine said, hey, Fish, there's a Filipino girl down at Passing ID. I had a little sports car. I was cool.
Okay.
I jumped in the sports car, shot down there, whipped in, walked in, and said, hey, my name's Fish. Would you like me to show you the base? And 5 months later, we were married.
Seriously? She bought that line?
51. She bought.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
5 months later, you were married.
Yeah. And everybody told us, it'll never last, right? But July 19th, it'll be 52 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And so it lasted.
Yeah, it lasted. And you remembered how you met her, which
I remember the first time I saw her. I can still see it in my mind.
Yeah.
I was just like,
That's it.
I would love to tell you it was love.
Yeah.
But
it was like in the beginning.
It wasn't that. It was just that she was just gorgeous. She had this really long, dark hair and brown eyes and dark skin, which I just described every woman in the Philippines. But, it was that look, right? Yeah. But she was just sweet.
Yeah.
She was just sweet, and I ruined her. Everybody said, her parents, her dad said, you marry that Italian bum, I'm going to cut your inheritance off. And he did. And it was like,
wow.
Yeah.
And she stuck with you anyways.
She did. It's like, I don't know.
You must have given her a really good tour.
I don't know.
That base tour was one for the books.
I'll have to ask her. Was it the tour, baby? Is that
really
what did
have to ask.
So listen, we got some great guests coming up. We keep running into people. But I do want to say this. If there's somebody out there that you'd like Kelly and I to sit with and have the chat, you can let us know. You can email me, fish at FISH at 93qradio.com. And then, we can talk and make that happen.
We promise not to give you any tours.
Yeah. But I just think that this is a great community that we live in. I love living here. I love that I've been given this incredible opportunity to do this. Kelly and I when we grow up, we're going to be influencers.
Oh, you keep saying that, and it's going to stick.
Kelly's already grown up. I'm working on it. Yeah. I should have it.
If you ever grow up. Yeah, we'll see.
Probably not, right?
Didn't you say your wife picked your shirt? I mean, I feel like...
it's like, aren't you a big boy yet?
Yeah, not yet.
Anyway, we want to thank you guys so much for watching, and you can leave comments down below. And I'm telling you, we will have merch, right? Are we going to have merch? Are we going to do merch?
We're going to do merch.
She's very enterprising. Yeah. Kelly's an entrepreneur. Only the Lord knoweth where this is going to go, right? So again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of In the Tank with Fish and Kelly.